And we are live. Hello everybody, good morning, good afternoon, happy time zones, wherever you might be. I'm Emma, and welcome back to the House of Hubris, here on twitch.tv/Saracent, and welcome back to the life and suffering of Sir Brante in times of the fall of the Blessed Outnian Empire. Which, you know, it feels like less of a mouthful every time. Funny how that works. So yeah, last time a lot of things happened. And we learned that getting our sister adopted, which is pretty unequivocally a good thing, would also absolutely destroy our family's reputation, which, like, they'd kind of made that clear, but really not made it mechanically clear, and it just zeroed our reputation instantly, and now everyone hates the Brantes, but hey, at least we're united. I suppose this is just the game very aggressively saying, no, you can't have everything, put some things back. Gloria will never be a noble of the sword, it's very sad. I mean, how much of that is just down to sexism? Anyway. Yeah, our girlfriend turned into an alien, / elf, / ghost. And now there's a revolution happening. Which, I looked at the Steam achievements afterwards, and apparently only 7% of people got the revolution, which seems surprising. Clearly too many moderates are playing this game. So yeah, should we just get straight back into it? Oh, and right on cue, we have CPU chug just out of the gate. Yes, that's the other apology I wanted to make going in. We are having some technical troubles here at Hubris Towers lately, so yeah, CPU might be playing up a bit, connection might drop unexpectedly, and I mean, touch wood, we should be fine, but if unexpectedly there is a problem with it, my apologies. And now I'm just talking to fill time while my CPU slows down. There we go. So let's get back into it, shall we? As we start Chapter 5. And I have no clue how long this content is going to be. Oh yeah, and we died twice. Well, twice more, so we've had all our lesser deaths now. The revolt beginneth. Morning. Oh, is this whole section just going to be like one day? That's cool. Yes, and I wanted to look through everything, unless... Actually, usually the first, like, story alert gives you a rundown of the new gameplay elements, if I remember the other chapters right, which I, let's be real, probably don't. So let's just run for at least the first bit. You leave the prefecture feeling uneasy. Your determined struggle for justice and equality before the law has led the people of Magra to feel empowered for the first time. Sensing their strength, they've taken up arms. Is this really what you were striving for? Kinda yes. After the last confrontation between the rebels and the noble militia in front of the prefecture, the city has fallen silent. A traveller passing by would think that life in Anizot is carrying on as usual, but rumours about the massacre in which the last straw slaughtered the noble cavalry have already reached every house in the city. For the first time in memory, commoners have dared to take up arms against their masters. Yeah. Mayor Egmont tried to demand rights for the lowly estate, but he was quickly defeated. Now his place has been taken by the last straw. The former underground movement, led by the merciless Sophia, will stop at nothing in their struggle for a new order, and their numbers are growing. The time for peaceful appeals has passed. The wrath of the people is gaining momentum by the hour. The rulers can no longer appease them by throwing them a bone and slightly loosening their grip. The commoners of Anizot are ready to fight to the true death for their rights. To party? ? Remiel Vermin is already dead, which is good because we never nailed his voice down. His life taken by the verdict of the People's Court. He was strangled by the mob that broke into the city hall. The magistrate's lifeless body now hangs just outside the windows of his office for all to see. Also, yeah, I suppose that was another thing we should touch on going in. Content warnings for, probably, a lot of descriptions of violence in this, because, yeah. And politics, and probably other heavy stuff out of nowhere, for which I can only apologise. Whether you want it or not, the revolt cannot be stopped now. Sophia is leading the revolt, we knew that. Remiel Vermin, very dead. So the revolt goes up to stalemate. General strength of the revolt. Forces gathered by the rebels, solidarity among them, support among the townspeople. The outcome will depend on how strong the revolt is at the moment of the decisive collision. 0 losing, 1 to 5 stalemate, 6 to 8 rebels are winning, 9 or 10 bloodbath as we just murder everyone who has ever had more than 5 real in their pocket. Our influence among the common people of Anazot depends on the support of the commoners whether we'll be able to prevail. So we have their trust, that's nice. And we have a squad of fighters. Cool. Here we go. Chapter 5. The Revolt. The commoners are revolting. Obvious joke. At dawn. For years now, Anazot has been simmering like a cookpot over a slow flame. Oh, the CPU again, Greta. I can only apologise. Like I say, we are having some technical difficulties lately. Yes, I really need to get new hardware is basically the takeaway here. Anyway, for years now, Anazot's been simmering like a cookpot over a slow flame. The powerlessness of the simple folk, unable to change the old order, has gradually given way to rage. Finally, this anger became stronger than their age-old submission to the higher estate and their fear of divine retribution. This rage was the spark that lit the fire of the revolt. They keep foreshadowing divine retribution for breaking the lots, and frankly, if the twins want to get involved, I invite them to come and try. Come at me, bros. All of Anazot's commoners have risen up in rebellion. Workers, artisans, merchants, beggars. They all long to break free of noble tyranny and the perpetual suffering that is their lot. Shocker, if you tell people your job in this life is to suffer, eventually they may not be happy with this. You will suffer forever and have no reward. The most daring among them have joined the last straw. The secret society has sent entire squads of trained soldiers out into the streets. My god, there were a lot of sibilances in that sentence. They hand out guns and bombs to the people, weapons that give them a chance to wage war on equal footing against noblemen descended from generations of warriors. But the most dangerous weapon the rebels possess is the people's court. The commoners have claimed the right to sentence their enemies to true death. The first nobles executed by the last straw this very night served as proof that these sentences are real. So, clearly there should be no fear of divine retribution, because that means the power of the law and the twins is on our side. For the first time in the history of the Empire, the divine force of the law is in possession not only of the noblemen, but also of the common estate. I do like things that treat law as a numinous entity, must say. Among the rebels are many new believers. They're ready to take up arms to defend their faith and freedom from the lots. They're led by Lennart, the abbot of the temple by the Silver Tree. Prefect Alborn's allegiance remains unknown. The Supreme Judge has taken such pains to give the lowly estate more rights. Will he support a revolt that strives to do the same? I mean, he didn't look thrilled last time we saw him. Anazot has recently been rocked by a series of spontaneous assemblies and protests. The mob demands equal rights for all estates and freedom from the tyranny of the nobles. The authorities must recognise the new faith and grant the commoners the right to choose their own lot. By nightfall, the rebels had disposed of the guards and taken over the city gate. In a matter of minutes, Anazot was under their control. It's the duty of Overseer Gaius Tempest to crush the revolt. The Artnian nobleman feared for his own position and power, so he was reluctant to punish the rebellious city as discontent slowly grew, year by year. But the ensuing uprising has left him no choice. The Overseer has announced a full-scale mobilization. In the morning, the Legion will march toward Anazot under his command and attempt to return the city to Imperial authority with fire and sword. And do not flee like a frightened bird that strays for its nest in the morning. Different song. The expeditious arrival of the Legion is the only hope the nobles have left now that they're locked inside the city. Members of the higher estate, especially the old aristocratic families, fear the coming rampage and strive to keep order on the streets. Meanwhile, the Inquisition, led by Sister Jeanne, is trying to stop the New Believers and urging the people to reject the revolt. Both groups are aware that if the rest of the province follows Anizot into rebellion and chaos, the Empire itself and the Divine Order will begin to crumble. Good. After nightfall, the city grows quiet. Its courtyards and squares are empty. In mansions and palaces, hasty negotiations are held and schemes are concocted. In dark cellars, the revolt is being prepared and armed units are gathering. Parishes are getting ready to defend the temples of the new faith against the Inquisition. All citizens, rich and poor, common and noble, are arming themselves, some with ancestral swords, others with cleavers. Anizot is preparing, waiting for the dawn. As the Legion arrives for the assault, the rebels assemble into a militia and get ready to fend off the Imperial army. There's little unity in their camp. Their leaders are already mired in a power struggle. There are also defenders of the Imperial Order within the city walls, members of the old aristocracy, soldiers of the Inquisition, priests of the old faith, commoners unwilling to defy the law and the Twins' design. These people too refuse to lay down their arms. The first rays of the rising sun light up the horizon. This day will go down in history. Your entire life has led you to this moment. Step by step, you've made yourself the man you are now. Your actions today could alter the course of history. But are you ready to go the distance? What will have become of you by the time the sun sets? Yeah, so it looks like we get one day to do all this. Interesting. Oh, strength of the revolt goes up. Nice. Here we get to go through everything. So, out comes the chapter. The most important event that will end this chapter, only one will happen. The Legion is defeated. If we lead the revolt and just fill it with troops and strength and be the absolute leader of the common folk. So only I can win the war, it turns out. Peace with the Overseer. We need to again be leading it. Strength at least 6. Have some troops. Trust with the common folk 3. Clergy 2. Nobles 1. And power between +3 and +4. What's power? It's that... Oh, right, still. The balance of power, and specifically the common power. The city is defended. Rebels fight back the attack of the Legion and hold Anizot for some time, which is... Again, we're leading it, but don't have as much trust. Revolt defeated. Not sure what characters haven't loaded in the power slot there. And this is just if we really side with the nobles and clergy. Revolt surrenders if we do that and have less troops. The Anizot massacre. Sophia leading the revolt. And revolt strength at least 6. So yeah, like, it's nice, it would be nice to see the revolt happen, but if Sophia leads it, it'll probably end very badly for a lot of people, and maybe we should not murder everyone. Dark times. Neither side succeeds, chaos and disorder spread. Just fail to get anything else. Or die. So I mean... The Legion is defeated would be cool. I would also settle for peace with the Overseer. Which... I mean, the only difference is that defeating them takes slightly more troops. Peace with the Overseer has a few more conditions. I imagine it would just be a choice to go for that. Things we can do with family. Stay in the city. Die. Flee the city. Save the family. Which I'd love to do. And these are all just choices. So, I don't know. They won't be as clearly signposted, annoyingly. Occupation. Escape from the city. A la Sonic the Hedgehog. Just leave. Lead the revolt. Eliminate Sophia. Okay, I guess we know who our first target is. Defender of the Empire. Ew. Or the rebel, side of the revolt. Sounds more like it. Sections that open. The Revolt screen is now available, where we see strength of the Revolt, and how many troops we have and how many followers we have in the different estates, and what side. Okay. Yeah, so ideally, if I'm going for the... My god, what is up with my CPU this morning? I really do apologise. If I want to go for the peaceful resolution, which would be nice, I want to keep power... was it between 3 and 4? Yeah, and just get lots more people on our side. Okay. We can do this. It'll be fine. Yep. Just one day. One shot, one opportunity. One day more. Just meld those songs. Family's fate. Oh no, consequences already. We just started this. But this is a consequence of the family not falling apart. Which, you know, you love to see it. Something familiar. The first rays of the morning sun reach the windows of your family home. It would be so easy to forget about the impending revolt here within these old, familiar walls. But the calm before the storm will soon be over, and yesterday's turmoil will return. There are only a handful of hours left. The Brantes have to decide what to do. Should the family stay in the city and prepare to weather the storm? Should they join the struggle? Or should they simply avoid it? After a sleepless night, you gather in the sitting room as a family once again. Father is the first to speak. His determined, yet surprisingly calm voice fills the room. This is what I was afraid would happen. The noble estate has turned a blind eye to the common people's misery. Now we have a revolt on our hands. It's my fault as well. I did all I could to serve the cause of justice, but it just wasn't enough. And now blood will be shed. Family patriarch casts a somber gaze over his children. I want to make one thing very clear. Today our family cannot get involved in the unrest. We will not take sides. I beg to differ, Father, because I saw a page in a book that said the only way this revolt could go well was if I was leading it, so... I feel for the common estate, but we're not getting dragged into a hopeless bloodbath. As for preserving the Overseer's rule in Anizot, we'll not sacrifice ourselves for that either. He's led Magra to this rebellion, and now it's up to him and his legion to deal with the rebels. We mustn't forget Commander Otten and his noble militia. They're all too eager to use this opportunity to slaughter all the nobles they blame for the revolt. I mean, we still have evidence on him. If we could bring it to the People's Court. Father is silent for a while. Then he takes his sword off the wall and places it firmly on the table. His voice rings with the coldness of steel. We will stay in our city and protect our home. Whatever danger we might face today, the Brantes will not surrender their home, their status, or their place in this world. None of you have ever seen Father so filled with resolve. But he still seeks your support. Robert, the patriarch of the Brante family, meets your gaze. My son, I know you're going to make your own decision. You're too deeply involved in this conflict to just stand aside. But right now I'm talking about our family here, Emilio. Our family must remain out of harm's way, no matter what you decide to do. Okay, so we can't side with the revolt, which is a shame. Why not? Because Stefan's not at home? Oh no, Stefan has to be not at home. Right, because... yeah, because otherwise Stefan will be like, no, we're not going to fight the Empire, what are you talking about? We can't oppose the revolt because we don't have enough reputation. to actually be associated with the Overseer. But I don't care. We can flee, because our unity and relationship are good. It'll cost us some willpower, and they'll leave. Or we agree with them, get some willpower back, and they stay here. I'm very worried about them, to be honest, and the fact that we needed a bunch of unity for this option, and that's what we've been working towards for ages, and frankly, sacrificed a lot for. I think that's a sign we should go for it. You respond firmly. Father's wrong. The family cannot remain in the city any longer. You have too many enemies. An attack on the Brante home is inevitable. The family needs to take advantage of the uprising to leave Anizot before it's too late. Father hesitates. He looks first at you, then at grandfather's portrait on the wall. The late Gregor Brante stares back at his progeny, implacable and stern. Again, why do we still have his portrait tried to set fire to his daughter-in-law? I can't just abandon our home. We'd be giving up our entire lives. You put your hand on father's shoulder. Even if your family leaves the city, your lives will not end. The Brante legacy will live on. As a nobleman and the head of the household, it's father's duty to keep the family safe, even if it means making sacrifices. Father lets out a bitter sigh and puts his sword back on the table. You're right, Emilio. My children are more important than my former life. I must protect them. Now, hurry. We need to get ready for our journey. We're leaving the city. Oh, I'm leaving with them? What? Oh, was that... Oh, what? Oh, okay. Well, we'll see. Everyone starts packing hurriedly. You take only what you need and nothing else. You move from room to room, gathering family jewels and heirlooms into a sack, watching the house grow empty and abandoned before your very eyes. Will the Brantes ever return to this home? Will you ever see it again? Emilio! You turn around and look behind you as you carry your belongings to the gate. The hunched, hapless silhouette of your younger brother appears on the steps. Nathan hurries toward you. Robert Brante is preparing to flee. We spend some willpower. We don't. You can generally still spend willpower while you're on 0. It just throws you into the minuses. This is just going to be consequences central, isn't it? By their will. Your younger brother stands before you, clutching an old prayer book. He sighs deeply, then begins to speak. I know you're in a hurry, Emilio. I'll try not to take up too much of your time. As you know, my faith has wavered all my life. Twins know how much I've sinned, but even in my darkest hour I knew they hadn't turned away from our world. I knew they still cared. Nathan's quiet for a moment, watching a tiny ant make its way across the porch. Callbacks and symbolism. To a thing we didn't really do, but could have. But I just can't understand, no matter how hard I try. What's happening to us? This revolt against the Empire, how did the twins let it happen? Is this even possible? I mean, the twins made the whole world as part of their design, didn't they? Does that mean the entire world is about to fall apart? No. This revolt, what is it? Please, help me understand. Nathan's sullen gaze rises toward the shining pillar. The thick grey storm clouds are already moving toward the city. The shining strip at the edge of the sky is growing dimmer by the second. You watch the sky too, lost in thought. What will you tell him? So we can't say he should ask the Elder Twin because we haven't had nearly enough spiritual revelations. And relations Nathan Brante Prophet? Huh. God, there's a lot of branches in this game. The revolt is part. We can't say the revolt is part of the twins' design because we're not theological enough, and it would make him hopeful. We could say it's a challenge against the gods because the world is corrupt and unjust, and the twins need to hear the people. Good for our theology. means Nathan is consumed by despair. The revolt's a threat to their design. Has to be stopped. Giver's eloquence also consumed by despair. Or you are not about to waste your precious time on your wayward brother's latest delusion. Just for the record, what's his status at the minute? Hopeful? So, either of these would lead to him being consumed by despair, whereas this way gives us willpower, keeps Nathan hopeful, and we get to just go, and it's very funny. Jesus. A nearby gunshot startles you, bringing you back to reality. You shake off your reverie and focus on the task at hand. There's no time to waste. You tell your brother that you have no time for theological debates. You have to go. Nathan's mouth begins to tremble and his shoulders slump. He barely manages to stay calm and composed. You're right, Emilio. I'm sorry for bothering you. I just thought we might not get another chance. Well, off you go. Nathan's bewildered eyes follow you to the gate. He hangs his head, still clutching at his old prayer book, his hunched figure looking even smaller now. You leave him to his own devices, face to face with the sprawling, livid, mad, mysterious world around him. We get some willpower. He stays hopeful underneath it all, even though he didn't sound it at the end there. Do any of us sound hopeful at the end? Also, CPU, what are you doing? Consequences. Escape from Anizot. That little sting you get when you have consequences sounds so Return of the Obra Dinn, if anyone's played that. The house where you were born and raised is empty now. All the supplies, clothes, and valuables you need for the journey have been packed into an inconspicuous-looking carriage. I hate this music. I'm beginning to worry. The horses neigh nervously at every sound, every shout echoing down the street. Father puts a heavy lock on the gate of the house, takes one last look at the estate with its covered windows and boarded up doors, then turns to you. We're ready, son. It's time to go. Better hurry. The insurgents have already taken the city gate. I'm afraid it won't be easy to get out of Anizot. Your carriage hurtles down the perilous streets. Places and faces flash outside the small windows. You see bands of armed commoners, preachers with crowds gathered around them, nobles on horseback scrambling to defend their homes. I never thought I'd have to abandon our home, to leave our city behind, lost in chaos and confusion. What happened to our world, Emilio? Is everything really going to change? The city gate grows closer. Your path is blocked by a hastily erected barricade. A cordon of stone-faced commoners stand before it. They're armed not with knives and clubs, but muskets. One of them shouts an order as soon as he spots the carriage. The guards train their weapons on you. Hey you, the rich folks in the carriage. Turn around and go back. The people control the gate now. Yes, it's not in a German accent, but as we've proven numerous times on this, it's one of the accents I cannot do, so you get what you get. Or maybe you think we might let one noble slip through, so you can hightail it to the Legion and the Overseer and beg for help. I don't think so. Now beat it, and pray to the twins we don't get here. With a dozen muskets trained on the carriage, you have no choice but to stop. What were we thinking? Oh, we should have seen this coming. These guards don't exactly look like saints. Can't force our way through, but maybe we could convince them somehow. Or bribe them. What should we do, Emilio? God, so many choices. So we can't just flee and leave everything behind, which would definitely lead us to dark times. And cost almost all of our wealth. But we're not manipulative enough to do that. We can't bribe the guards, because we're not manipulative enough to do that. We can't just order them to, because Sophia's not on our side. We could just attack the guards. Get your family out of the city, you'll stay behind and fight for your cause. It would slightly lose us some trust with the common folk, which isn't ideal. Increase the strength of the revolt. Or we turn the carriage around at the cost of some willpower. Fight! 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 Be aggressive! You answer father readily, your voice ringing with cold steel. You'll break through the gates. Whatever it takes. It's time to summon your troops. Your carriage turns around and leaves, but stops, just out of earshot of the gate. You send out a messenger with a note. Before long, a squad of fighters loyal to you approaches the gate. You order the squad to clear a path to the gate, if just for a short time. Attack! The horses' hooves thunder. Iron clanks and rattles, gunshots rumble. The rebels barely have time for a single salvo before the riders' advance forces them to scatter. Stupid words that can be both a verb and a noun. Why do people do this? The path is clear, but the surviving guards are already calling furiously for backup. Hurry, get it open! The gate swings up. Something in my throat there. The gate swings open with a groan. The carriage containing your family dashes past the carnage and disappears beyond the city walls. Emilio! There's no time to respond. More gunfire, a bullet buzzes over your head, pulverizing a nearby wall. More last straw insurgents are heading this way to seal the gate. There's no way to hold this position. You must retreat. Spread out! Your squad obeys your command and retreats down alleyways. You're right behind them. You can finally breathe a sigh of relief. Your family's safe. You know you'll see them again. Surely this cannot be your last goodbye without so much as a single word of farewell. I don't know, it really feels like it could be. You will see them again. You have to. But right now, you're alone. In a city in turmoil. Yeah. Is there an upper limit on revolt strength? No, it just has to be at least 6 for a rebel victory. The family has fled. Event has happened. The crimson sun slowly rises above the horizon. You make your way through a city in chaos, carefully observing what's happening on the streets. The rebellion is flaring up again after a night of calm. I think you can get green for that. Once again, the commoners are taken to the squares in droves. The grim resolve in the rebels' eyes speaks volumes. They are determined to seize their freedom, or die trying. There are others, however, who are huddling inside their homes, locking their doors and praying to survive the revolt unscathed. With every passing minute, you see more and more people carrying banners. They bear a hand clutching a lantern, the mark of the last straw, which seems like slightly questionable iconography. Like, surely if you were going with that symbol for your flag, you'd call yourself something light-based. What do I know? The conspirators have left the shadows at last. They hand out guns to the common folk, using these last precious minutes to quickly teach them how to fire them. Point, click. The artisans are out on the streets too, cobbling together makeshift shields out of wood and nails to protect against the nobles and their blades. They're not making makeshift nobles. Just like, hey, you know what you need to practice with those guns is some nobles to shoot at. Let me build a mannequin. No. Fortunately for the rebels, the nobles remain divided. The old noble bloodlines have sided with Darius Arden. The Artnian has sworn to bring down the revolt by any means necessary. His noble militia now stands guard in the Silver District, where the city's most eminent aristocrats have their homes. They represent the greatest threat to the revolt. Many nobles of the Mantle, however, are all too eager to violate their oath of fealty and side with the rebels. Though ennobled to serve the Empire, they no longer want to suffer under the boot of the highborn Artnians and human gentry. Yeah, because really, they're nobles in name only. They're very much still treated as commoners. But there are many more who are still undecided. Soldiers and low-ranking officers of the Legion from the city's garrison, officials and functionaries. They've all found themselves caught between the Overseer's orders and the People's Revolt. Many of them are biding their time, hoping the Legion or the Prefecture will spring into action and quell the unrest. But the Prefecture has yet to react. The city prefect, Sir Alborn, still has not made it clear which side he's on. Even the clergy has been swept up in the strife. Yeah, that is what that says. Why did I... Yeah. Abbot Leonard is gathering new believers for a procession to the Silver Tree, where the people will elect a new patriarch. Old believer priests and common folk who prefer to cling to the lots and save their souls stand in opposition. Even the Inquisition, whose duty it is to protect the Church of the Twin Gods against heresy, has been tainted by this schism. The true fight for the fate of Anizot will begin in a matter of hours. You've had 8 years to carry influence among the people of this city. It's time to put your connections to the test. Who can you sway to your side? Who will be willing to sacrifice their lives and fight for your cause? Well, apparently nobody. Success? Question mark? Let's find out what we could have done differently. We can't arm the new believers because we're not a priest. We can't incite a riot among the Legion because we didn't save Thomas, and really that's on us. We can't assemble some loyal rebels because we weren't lawless. Can't support the old believers, not a priest. Can't unite the nobles because we weren't ennobled by the sword. And we can't buy the people's loyalty because we're not lawless. Free willpower! This will be a long day indeed. It will take all your wits and composure to do what must be done. You spend these last few hours of quiet biding your time, and mustering your strength, and doing that. In dramatic shadows. You keep your ear to the ground and plan your next move. The timing for this respite could not have been more perfect. The storm is yet to come. Both the defenders of the Imperial regime and the rebels need time to gather their forces for the pivotal clash. Gaius Tempest and the Legion will not arrive in Anizot until nightfall. Only then will the fate of the revolt be decided in the ultimate struggle between good and evil. And I don't even know what I'm quoting at this point. Yeah. The Legion is already on the march towards the rebellious city. What can the rebels do to oppose it? Everything depends on how the conflicts of the day play out before the sun sets. The Prefecture and the Gendarme, will they pursue the rebels? Take their side? Leonard's procession of new believers to the Silver Tree, will the people elect their first patriarch? The disjointed groups of insurgents, will they be able to unite? And if so, who will unite them? Your thoughts are interrupted. The sound of gunfire fills the city streets again. The lull is over. You can wait no longer. And we move on to... Oh, a fading light. This happened because we were noble. So many consequences. The sun rises higher and higher. Your carriage is hurtling down the street, making its way through the crowd with great difficulty. Many barricades have appeared overnight, made of old boards and rotten trash. You have to reach the prefecture as soon as you can. The gendarme and judge's reactions to the revolt could be decided at any moment. Any word from Sir Alborn, no, even the slightest sign from him could determine their allegiance. The Silver District is empty now, populated only by a searing wind sweeping light debris across the cobblestones. You smell smoke. A noble house must have been set on fire nearby. You hear hooves clattering in the distance. There's not a soul around. All you can hear is a fountain burbling in a small square, mixed with gentle, melodic laughter. You yell for the carriage to stop. Those graceful movements, that clothing so light and airy. Oh hey, it's Alien Elf Girlfriend! That thin, slender figure playing, splashing in the water. The rays of the sun dance and glitter on its golden skin. That hot, carefree day flashes before your eyes. The sound of the carriage on the cobblestones, the handkerchief dropped on the ground. Does Octavia still remember how you first met? This creature, does it still have anything in common with the prideful Archnean lady you met here all those years ago? I mean, we didn't meet her. Oh, wait, this is like the public square where she dropped her handkerchief. Okay. The creature that was once Octavia is laughing, as though she cannot see the ruined streets around her. You come closer. You feel a strange, involuntary sense of calm next to this bizarre creature. There can be no hatred in her presence, no pain, no suffering. She raises her large, pitch-black eyes to you. Her voice rings with genuine elation. Do you see it all crumbling now? It's the old world dying, collapsing under its own weight. Do not fear it. It's not a bad thing. This is how it has to be. You live in the dream of the one called Octavia Melanidas, human who bears the name of Brante. This dream will end soon, and then it will all be gone. Your empire, your estates, your lots, your shining pillar. And you, human named Brante, will be gone too, and the great mind of the Latari will leave this dream and move on, beyond all borders, beyond all limits. What great joy that moment will bring us. The creature that was once Octavia stretches her thin arms towards the horizon, where smoke already wafts against the backdrop of the sky. The screams of the rioting crowd are drawing closer. This being is not of this world, and it's utterly helpless, especially here in Anizot in the middle of a rebellion. The fate of the woman you knew as Octavia Melanidas is in your hands now. Great, and we once again have no choices! Can't hand her over to the Inquisition, because we have too much of a spiritual bond with her. Can't get her out of the city, because we don't have a relation with Dorius. Interesting. Can't share a final moment with her, because we didn't get to do the ritual! And we're not theological enough. I cannot believe that trying to stop them getting arrested for doing the ritual shot our chances in the foot quite this much. So, alright, guess we're done. So much for that spiritual bond. Again, for all that this game recommends you seeing the consequences, there are lots of consequences you can't see. Her large, pitch-black eyes are watching you, but you remain silent. Whatever connection you had to Octavia Melanidas, it's gone now. The fate of this bizarre creature is none of your concern. She can follow her inscrutable path on her own. See, now I'm sad. The creature that was once Octavia hangs her head in sorrow. The saddest thing about the death of this world, human named Emilio Brante, is that you are so tightly bound to it. You will burn along with it. We will mourn you as you fade away. Goodbye forever. The thin, slender, ethereal figure hops from the edge of the fountain and onto the cobblestones. She turns her back to you and walks away down an empty street. The eerie calm she emanated remains with you for a while, but soon dissipates. Only the acrid smell of smoke remains. You shake your head and wrench yourself back to reality. Elborn, the prefecture, you need to hurry. After becoming Latari, Octavia left the world without a trace. Sad face. Yes, this is still part of the track of because you're a nobleman. Sir Elborn's choice. It's noon. A large crowd is gathered in the prefecture square. The gendarmes form a line in front of the stairs, clutching their cudgels nervously. The commoners keep coming. The mob keeps growing. I read that as the commoners keep commoning. Stevie Wonder voice. They call out to the windows of the prefecture. Their screams are deafening. Elborn sides with the people! Gendarme! Judges! Join us! The people need you! It's now or never! The rebelling citizens demand that the prefect take a side. This decision must not be made without you. You have to get inside. Push your way through the dense crowd until you reach the gendarme. Oh, Sir Brante, I thought you'd been captured. Men, let the judge through. That was it. Just finding the voices again. As ever, my voice prints are going to wander from episode to episode because I don't really watch them, and even if I did, probably wouldn't help. Tell the judges to make up their minds. The people haven't attacked us yet, but you never know. The main hall of the prefecture is stuffy and crowded. The din of voices is as loud here as outside. Almost every judge in the province is here now, save for those who stayed home or fled the city in advance. Most of them demand that the prefect disperse the crowd. Augustin Alborn is on the podium in the courtroom, looming above the indignant judges. No! I will not sic the gendarme on the people! It is the prefecture's duty to listen to the Emperor's subjects, not force them to be silent. If we disperse this crowd, it will only fan the flames. This is true. And what of the overseer's orders, Sir Prefect? We have to quash the revolt while we still can. Tell the gendarmes to do their duty and protect the city from these riots. Or do you want this so-called People's Court to hang us all? Have you forgotten about the last straw and that freak Sophia? They're executing people left and right, as though they're wielding the divine law. Do you really think you'll be spared? I mean, they are wielding the divine law. Definitionally. The judges applaud Fuckgraben, even those who believe to be the prefect's most ardent supporters. This unrest needs to be quelled with words, not clubs. We turn this demonstration into a bloodbath, there will be no stopping the carnage. Alborn tries to respond, but cries of outrage drown out his words. The prefect frowns in consternation. The wrinkles on his forehead grow deeper. He casts another glance around the courtroom and notices you standing in the doorway. So we can't condemn him and say, quell the revolt, because Jesus, we're still not diplomatic enough, but also we are too dishonoured. We can't support his plan to calm the mob, because we don't have noble support or good reputation, which would just be bad. Convince everyone to side with the rebellion. With Valor at least 18, this is what we've been training for. We officially become a rebel. Strength of the troops goes up, trust with the common folk goes up, trust with the nobles goes down. Don't care. Although I will note those if I want a peaceful victory. And Augustin becomes a rebel, or we just wait for him, gets more power back, and the strength of the revolt comes up, and nothing else happens. Let's go! Rebellion time! You start elbowing through the agitated crowd of judges and make your way up to the podium. You stand to Alborn's right. He acknowledges you with a friendly nod. Let Judge Brante speak! You address the judges. It's the prefecture's duty to mete out justice. The common people of Anizot have rebelled not because they are disobedient, but because of the judges' hypocrisy and the nobles' tyranny. Because the law has been flouted at every turn. I love that word. Flouted, not turn. This is why all of us, the judges, the gendarmes, the entire prefecture, must demand true justice from the imperial regime. We must join the people and fight for it. You turn to Alborn. It's time for the highest judge in Magra to proclaim that the prefecture has sided with the revolt. Alborn is stunned. The judges watch the podium with sheer terror in their eyes. Traitors! To arms! A dozen judges unsheath their swords and rush to the podium with Fuckgraben in the lead. You barely manage to draw your blade in time to deflect their furious blows, but luckily I'm the best at sword. Brante, move back! To the wall! Alborn draws his sword and comes to your aid. He clearly struggles to wield his blade, but together the two of you manage to fend off your attackers. Sir Prefect, hold on. We're coming. The gendarme captain runs into the courtroom, followed by his subordinates. The defiant judges, now greatly outnumbered, have no choice but to lower their weapons. They glare at you and Elborn, their eyes brimming with hatred. There are so many of them. So many judges who will never forgive your betrayal. You have betrayed the Empire today, Prefect. You betrayed your own estate and your very honor. And it's all thanks to that upstart, Brante. You'll pay for this. Elborn turns his back on the captive judges and begins giving orders to the gendarme. Jail anyone who drew his sword on me and Sir Brante. Jail for 1,000 years. No. As for the rest of the judges, you are still my subordinates. You may either follow my orders or join Sir Fuckgraben in the dungeon. You, Elborn, and the gendarme leave the courtroom and walk out onto the stairs in front of the building. The judges who've chosen to side with you follow, awkwardly. The prefect casts his gaze over the people gathered before him. The mob has grown to fill the entire square, spilling out into the adjacent streets. People of Anizot! I, Prefect Augustin Elborn, on behalf of all the judges and gendarmes of Anizot, say this. We stand with the revolt! The mob explodes into deafening cries of elation. The judges are with us! Hooray for Elborn! Hooray for Brante! We'll win our freedom yet! Phew. Well, at least we avoided a bloodbath. What now, Sir Brante? What are your orders? You're about to respond to the gendarme captain, but are cut short. You hear hooves clacking toward the square, coming from the Silver District. The people at the edges of the mob begin screaming in terror. Confusion and fear ripple through the crowded square. The rioters are coming. It's Orton and his noble militia. Yeah, Elborn is a rebel. Rebel. Oh, we did have some noble followers. Well, not anymore. But we have a whole regiment of troops, and we're winning, and we have the trust of the common folk again. Go us. Your side not chosen? What? Oh, I probably just need to click the button one more time. Yeah, the rebel event has happened. Side with the revolt. Okay, so for a military victory, well, for any victory, we need to be leading the revolt. Otherwise, if we're not, Sophia could still be leading it, but then there will be so much murder. And we need to max out our support with the common folk and the clergy, get some with the nobles, and get the common power in the province up to 3 or 4. Great, that's a lot of stuff. But most importantly, we do need to get rid of Sophia so we can lead the revolt. Daytime. Starting to wonder if this might end up being shorter than a whole stream. Prefecture under siege. The searing sun looms high in the sky above the rebellious city. Let me just... Yes, we are the rebel. I know. The square in front of the prefecture is packed with commoners. Just a moment ago, they boldly demanded that the judges and gendarmes side with the rebellion, and we did. But now they're terrified. They fear the noble army that's coming for them. Their calls for rebellion are gone, replaced by frightened screams. Hooves thunder against the cobblestones. The earth quakes beneath their feet. The noble militia, led by Dorius Orton, carves a path through the human sea. The terrified rebels scatter as the riders approach. The gendarmes remain where they are, forming a tight circle around the prefecture and Elborn. The prefect calls out to the crowd, his voice hoarse. I mean, it always is the way I do it. Everyone, stay calm! Let them through! Do not draw your weapons! Otton's riders push the mob aside and eventually reach the tall building. The Archnean commander draws in his reins only when the gendarme are all that separate him from the prefecture stairs. Prefect Elborn, how dare you disobey the orders of the province's rightful rulers? You have abused your position to appease the rebels and defy imperial rule. This inconceivable rebellion is your fault. Oh, on that bombshell, apparently. time has continued to pass. Funny that. So I should probably have a short break. Because I need to run some ads. I mean, Twitch is going to run them whatever I do. So hey, I need to go and get some water, move around, all of that good self-care stuff. Get out of this incredibly warm room for a second. I recommend all of you do much the same things. Keep cool out there, have a drink, have a snack, take your meds if you need to. This is your reminder. You know, walk around, give someone a hug if they're chill with it. And, although in this heat, who's chill with anything? And yeah, let the ads run in if you can. And I will see you in about 3 minutes. Love you all. See you in a few. And we're back here in Anizot in the year 1146, where things are kicking off. Which my brain has just decided to translate into filking the song In Nazareth from the soundtrack of noted mid-Christmas film Nativity. And yes, I know I'll offend quite a lot of ardent fans of that film, my mother included, with that description. I don't care for it. But yeah, that's in my head for some reason, just singing it as In Anizot. My brain is full of ants. Anyway, shall we get back to the actual game rather than my needless ramblings? Here's Dorius, being a knob, as he does. It's time for you to accept your well-earned punishment. In the name of Archduke Milanidas, I hereby order you and your gendarme to surrender your weapons. The Supreme Judge of the Prefecture maintains his composure in the face of this recrimination. I only obey the laws of the Empire, Sir Otton, not you or your runaway Archduke. Get his ass. Otton's face contorts into a predatory grin. Excellent. You've had your chance to save face, old man. Instead of a dignified execution, you and your cronies will hang, like the foul rabble you betrayed us for. Otton lifts his sword skyward, prepared to order an assault. The riders behind him are about to attack. The gendarmes ready their clubs. Their hands are trembling. They won't stand a chance against the noble cavalry. The mob begins to shift, about to flee the square. The fate of this moment hangs by a thread. So we could just stay out of it, get some willpower back, power and order both go down, and Augustin straight up dies! We can't get them to reconcile, because we'd need more reputation, we'd need to not be a rebel, we need to have 20 diplomacy, and we'd need to have a decent relationship with him, and to have not got Augustin to rebel. Yeah, so wow, that'd be something, but it would put us on the side of the Empire. We could overthrow Right, if we weren't a rebel, because yeah, we could side with Otton and kill Augustin ourselves. Let's not do that. Challenge Otton to a duel. We have like nothing we can do with that. But again, that would make us a defender of the Empire. Get Otton's army to abandon him. We would need to have got him sentenced and not be defender of the Empire, and then he would be dead, and that would be funny. Wow, that would be great. But we can't. But we can rouse the mob. Common folk are on our side. We have willpower. Augustin is on our side. Power goes up. Order goes down. Revolt goes up, troops go up, willpower goes down. It often doesn't die right now, but, you know. Yeah! Otton's riders advance on the gendarme. If you do nothing, the prefecture will fall. You need to act now. You leap into the mob, scramble up onto an overturned carriage, and call out to the throng. Hey throng, you say. No, you don't. You hear voices throughout the crowd. It's Brante. Emilio Brante wants to say something. You shout as loudly as you can. I'm not going to shout as loudly as I can. People of Anizot, do not fear the wrath of the nobles. Your lives are finally yours for the first time since the Empire was founded. Cast off the lot of humility. You are many, and they are few. It's time to fight. Let's just frame that last paragraph and put it everywhere. For years and years, the prefecture has always been there to protect the rights and freedoms of the common man. Thanks to me. We cannot let it fall into enemy hands. Stop them! Protect the prefect! Alborn hears you over the din of the struggle on the prefecture stairs. His voice joins yours. Show them you have no fear! Take your rights by force! I, Prefect Alborn, I am on your side! Your words inspire the people with a sense of solidarity. They have much to lose now, and they will not surrender their freedom without a fight. In the blink of an eye, the unwieldy throng bristles with heavy sticks, wooden clubs, and makeshift spears. What's the difference between a heavy stick and a wooden club? Surely those are the same thing. Maybe just a matter of degree. A wooden club is just a heavy stick. Start giving orders from your impromptu podium, commanding this newfound army to assault the rear of Otton's cavalry. Cut the rabble down, no mercy. The cavalry turns to face them with an onslaught of sharp steel. Bones crack beneath hooves. Swords slice through defenceless flesh. The stench of blood fills the square as fallen bodies dissipate into glimmering dust. You keep doling out furious commands, trying to ensure that the common folk are not routed. Hold the line. Stand your ground. Better a lesser death than eternal slavery. The riders smash into them again, but the line holds. The people have numerical superiority, and their spears and clubs strike back. The cavalry begins to drown in the sea of humanity. The gendarmes hit Otton's warriors from the rear. One by one, the riders are dragged from their horses. The noble militia falters. Traitorous filth, retreat! Otton and his surviving horsemen turn tail and flee, furiously carving a path with their swords. At least half of Otton's men have fallen in this battle. Cries of victory fill the square. The commoners shake their weapons, eager to follow your orders. But it's far too early to celebrate. You've only fought off one assault. Prefect Alborn finds you in the boisterous crowd. Emilio! Your courage has saved the prefecture. I'm with you until the end. Whatever you need from me, you will have it. We need to hurry now. The noble militia we've seen in this city pales in comparison to the forces of the Legion. We'll gather up forces at the prefecture and establish a unified command structure. You should find Abbot Leonard and aid him in any way you can. His procession must be en route to the Silver Tree by now. The enemies of the new faith are waiting there, weapons in hand. They'll massacre each other if we don't stop them, Brante. The city is a powder keg with a short fuse. More fire and blood is the last thing we need. What we need is more allies, and having Leonard on our side is crucial. We need a spiritual leader who can unite the city against the Legion. You nod to Alborn. The fate of the feud between the two faiths, fun alliteration, will be decided in the clash at the Silver Tree. You have to be there, because you're the protagonist. You wish the prefect luck, then muster your loyal forces, and head for the tree. Commoners are in power. The land is lawless. I mean, it's in active revolt, so that would make sense. Strength of the revolt goes up to bloodbath. And we have an army. Slightly less willpower, but still plenty. We're still full. We get full very easily. We should work on our power appetite. I keep checking our things. So we need to up our trust with the common folk to 3, clergy to 2, nobles to 1, but mostly we need to get rid of Sophia. Cool. An enormous sea of humanity flows through Anizot, filling the streets of the Temple District. They're led by Abbot Leonard. The new believers walk peacefully behind him, many of them women and the elderly. They're unarmed. Their faces show neither fear nor anger. They're so drastically unlike the throngs of rebels who are currently ransacking streets and looting noble houses. And now I'm having flashbacks to... I know I make a lot of incredibly deep-cut references, but my god is this a deep cut. Anybody else... I mean, this is never the case, but if anybody else knows the books of Cordwainer Smith, this is giving me real Dead Lady of Clowntown vibes all of a sudden. And if you haven't read the works of Cordwainer Smith, heavy recommend. Like, this is part... I know this is part of my dad brought me up on a lot of classic sci-fi. he gets forgotten about so much, and he's so good. And I'm seeing a lot of kind of narrative styling similarities, but then I do a lot because they live in my brain rent free. Seriously, they're good. Anyway. Bong. The procession slowly makes its way toward the temple at the Silver Tree. The temple has always been where patriarchs of the church accept their sacred duty, along with the heavy burden of responsibility for their flock before the twin gods. When a patriarch speaks, the twins pay heed, and every 8 years it falls upon the patriarch to proclaim in their sight how their world is humbly following the lot it has been given. Well, so much for that. Long, long after the twins descended to our world, the patriarchs came to be elected at the conclave by the clergy. This tradition has continued for many years. Today, dozens of priests have come to the temple in spite of the unrest to conduct the rite and spare the twins' world from their wrath. But now, thousands of commoners are walking into the same temple to elect the new patriarch themselves. Democracy ? You and your followers take a side street to the temple, avoiding the immense procession. Soon, the square by the tree is packed, teeming, overwhelmed. But the stairs to the temple doors cannot be reached. A stalwart phalanx of champions of faith blocks the way, with Jeanne in the lead. They're joined by the Inquisitors, those who've decided to walk the path of the old faith until the very end, where it just drops off a cliff. I will not allow you into this temple, Lennart. These heretics will not make you patriarch. I don't know what that accent turned into at the end there. Father Leonard slowly begins to ascend the stairs. He does not argue with Jeanne. The abbot simply faces her with a humble smile and gestures at the people standing behind him. Doubt clouds the champions' faces. Leonard's procession is truly staggering. Even if they're mere commoners, even if they're unarmed and empty-handed, there are simply too many of them to be stopped by a few dozen old believers. Sister Jeanne, look at them. Are they truly heretics? All of them? I can never remember Leonard's voice, so this is what you're getting. For some reason he's turning into Ringo Starr. They're just people, our brothers and sisters in faith. Why would the Inquisition treat us like enemies? Do not reject the twin gods. Nay, we seek them with our every thought. You rejected the law of the younger when you chose to seek your own lots. No, Jeanne. The only thing we reject is Isatia's error. This argument has been going on for years, Lennart. I know each and every point you can make, don't even bother. You will not enter the temple. And all these people, you're just dragging them down to the foot of the pillar along with you. How can you still not understand this after so many years? What do you think you're doing, Lennart? Don't you fear the wrath of the gods? I do not, Jeanne. When I become patriarch, I will tell the twins that we still love and revere them just as we always have, even as we seek a different path to them. The twins will hear us. They'll listen. They'll understand. There will be no wrath of the gods. Now he's turning a little bit Irish. Stay on target. The new believers heed Leonard's words. They begin to firmly ascend the stairs to the door of the temple. The champions' swords do not deter them. Those aren't swords, those are halberds. Jeanne watches the massive congregation approach her, her eyes filled with remorse. She raises an arm, about to give her final order. Champions of faith! Protect the sacred temple, fight to the bitter end! You reach the foot of the stairs as she speaks these words. This is your last chance to intervene. So we can't lead the procession because we don't have the clergy on our side, and we aren't, like, heavily involved with the new faith. We can't stand with Jeanne, for obvious reasons. We can save them from bloodshed. We can just... Oh, that would just be get them away from the temple. Leonard would be defeated, but Jeanne would die. Fend them off with the champions of faith, we would have to not be a rebel. Order the priests to attack, we would have to be a priest. Oh, and that would be defending the old faith. Or we just leave. Jeanne buried alive. But this would get us at least a little bit of support from the clergy. So we should do that. We should actually, you know, help the people we're trying to save, I suppose. Good use of my willpower, question mark. There can never be peace between the Inquisition and the New Believers. Sister Jeanne's right, the dispute between them has been going on for years. Neither side will ever yield to the other. Right now there's only one thing you can do. Rescue as many of them as you can from what's to come. I mean, yielding doesn't have to be the only way you get peace. I mean, not saying anything, but the troubles, which very much not entirely over, but, you know, ceasefires are possible is my point. You gesture to your followers hurriedly, spread out and guide the people away from here, as many as they can. Go in the name of the Younger! Champions of Faith obey Jeanne's order. They get into formation and begin advancing on the New Believers, weapons in hand. The unarmed mob recoils in fear, but those in the front row are pushed from behind and driven onto the blades. Okay, at least that's a sword. Blood splatters onto the stairs of the sacred temple. A woman's voice lets out a shrill scream. Panic spreads throughout the mob like wildfire. Chaos fills the minds of women and men. They begin pushing, pulling, dashing, recoiling like frightened animals. And the warriors of the church keep advancing, unrelenting and lethal. Your men have reached the edges of the square. They try to guide the New Believers down back alleys, shouting, "Here! Over here!" But for many of them, it's already too late. A mighty gust of wind rushes over the square. It roars, howls, almost screams, filled with remorse, agony and wrath. Ooh, are the twins getting involved? Exciting times. The earth begins to tremble beneath your feet. Before your very eyes, as though in some terrible nightmare, the roof of the sacred temple begins to shake, and the pillars start to sway back and forth. No! The world is turned upside down, like a kaleidoscope shaken by a massive hand, or a folk song that people only know because it was in Hamilton. For several seconds, everything blends together. You fall flat on your back. Slowly you come to your senses. You're surrounded by dozens of bodies and chunks of rock. What the... Where the temple at the Silver Tree once stood, there's nothing. The grand, majestic structure is no more. It's been levelled to the ground. Remnants of its walls and roof are scattered across the square. The stairs that once led to it have been ground into gravel. A cloud of dust slowly settles upon the square. After the dust come the leaves. Thousands and thousands of leaves shed by the Silver Tree. They cover the corpses of the truly dead like a pale white shroud. The entire square glows as the bodies of those yet to reborn dissolve into nothingness. There are so many that the light stings your eyes, even through the thick dust that still hangs over it all. Just how many people met their deaths today? Sister Jeanne and her warriors are gone, buried beneath the rocks. The order of the Inquisition in Anizot is finished. You stagger to your feet and go to where you last saw Father Leonard. You soon spot the edge of his once white cassock, pinned by a chunk of broken pillar. It takes all your strength to roll the heavy stone away and drag the abbot out from under the rubble. Leonard is wounded, but conscious. He looks around, trying to understand what's happened, then slowly falls to his knees. A loud groan escapes his lips. Blood and tears trickle down Leonard's face, mixing together. The abbot chokes on the dust. His eyes are fixed on the ruins of what was once his temple. The bare branches of the tree piercing the sky like swords. I was wrong. I was wrong. The gods, they wouldn't listen to us. They rejected our faith. What do I do now, Emilio? What do I do? The temple. How will we live now? There's no hope left. This is the end. Leonard's words become incoherent, descending into a frantic babble. You speak to the abbot, trying to console him. All's not lost. You managed to save many people. You're not sure he can hear you now. But You cannot wait for him to come to his senses. You have to take the lead. So you begin mustering your forces and getting ready to move to Empire Square. Enormous crowds of people are already on their way there, about to choose the leader of the Anizot Rebellion. The sun slowly begins to set. Please could not reach the twins. Although, I think mostly the twins probably objected to the whole massacre at their temple thing. A thing gods are often a bit, picky about. Jeanne's status got wrecked. The earth beneath the roots of the silver tree swallowed her whole. Ouch. Order was already at 0, whatever. Revolt strength maxes out, we have the cautious support of the clergy. It cost us some willpower. Anyway, now let's go to Empire Square and kill Sophia and take over. And also, if we can get more support from the common people while we're at it, that'd be great. The sun's setting. The blood-red sky quavers in the hot smoke from the fires raging throughout the city. You cannot help but recall a passage from the lives of the twins, one of the many pages Mother used to quote when you were a child. And the elder said, "Lo, I have cast a flame into the world, and I shall guard it until it begins to blaze." Could this passage be referring to today? Yes, because this is the first time a city has ever been on fire in history. Symbols have applicability. This just in. Not everything is a specific prophecy. You lead your followers to Empire Square. You walk around rubble, past abandoned carriages and unfinished barricades. Barrages and carriades. Nah. My brain was like, there's something in this. Nah, there was not. There have clearly been clashes here recently. The dust of the departed is still rising into the sky. Dust of the Departed, A+ metal band name. Thousands fill the square before the Chancellery, while over half the commoners of Anizot. The Chancellery has been under rebel control since noon. All Imperial officials either fled or were torn apart by the mob. Scraps of rumours and gossips reach your ears as you move closer. Did you hear what happened to the Great Tree? It's the Inquisitors. They just started slaughtering folks. They grabbed them swords of theirs and started killing our own people. Its procession made it into the temple. It was a sign from the twins. All lies. The twins got angry and destroyed them all under the tree. The temple's gone, I tell you. Gone for good. That was Stefan's voice. Why is he in this crowd? I only have so many voices. The crowd's on edge. Any dispute could explode into a brawl. A voice from the Chancellery stairs calls for another people's court. The mob turns as one. Several last-straw rebels drag a handful of well-dressed nobles out onto the steps and force them to their knees. The leader of the executioners is a preacher with a mane of unkempt hair and the wild eyes of a lunatic. We've met him before, haven't we? I think we have. Yeah, Father Fouad. The younger he speaks through us, he does. He gave us the power of his law, the power to punish our enemies, to execute them. Anyone who stands in our way is an enemy of the twins themselves. Because he was from everywhere, was Fouad. What is this accent? I don't know, but that's where we are now. People, it's time to judge these enemies of the simple folk. What is your sentence? The mob roars so loudly the square shakes. Death! True death! The last straw rebels ready their guns. One of the captives gets to his feet and speaks out defiantly. Have we met him? I can't remember. You dare call this pathetic freak show a people's court? You don't have the power, you never have and you never will. You think you can wield the law of the twins? Pah! We'll come back and we'll make you pay. The aged nobleman's last words are drowned out by a thunderous volley of gunfire. One by one the nobles collapse, their bodies pierced by bullets. They remain where they fall. The mob gasps in amazement. There can be no doubt. The People's Court has the power to mete out true death at will. Again, treating the concept of democracy as essentially magic here is... it's very neat. just, yeah. The state has a monopoly over official killing. Becomes the law can make people die for real. And then when democracy is set up, that just means the will of the people can make people die for real. And this is neat. I like the world building in this. This is what will happen to anyone who dares to oppose us. All hail the revolt! All hail our leader! All hail Sophia! Sophia's gonna lead us. She's gonna fend off the Legion. She's gonna bring justice first to Anizot, then to the whole Empire. She's gonna tear down the old ways and wipe all them tyrants and nobles from the face of the world. Because he was from everywhere, Jesus Christ. Every accent under the sun, that's what they call him. Many accents forward. It's why they said he had the wild eyes of a lunatic. It's just like, nobody wants to go near him. He talks in every accent. The mob explodes into an ecstatic chant. They shout one word over and over again. Sophia! Sophia! The enormous throng bellows wildly, eager to see the face of its leader. What do you mean we can't take control of the revolt? Because Sophia is leading the revolt. We can unite them around Sophia. Because Sophia is leading the revolt. Right, so we needed to get rid of Sophia before now. I suppose that makes sense. Can't break up the mob because we're not on the Empire's side. Likewise, destroying their morale. We can't overthrow Sophia because the revolt is too strong. Damn it! Damn it! I knew getting the revolt up this strong would be bad. But I mean, I didn't have that many choices, to be honest. I can just watch what happens next, if she wasn't there. Or just don't get involved. Revolt gets stronger. We get some willpower back. We are going to get so killed. Okay, we're pretty much locked in for the bloodbath, the Anizot massacre ending. My whole, literally execute anyone who has ever had more than 5 real in their pocket, reference. Yeah, that seems to be where we're going. Errors may have been made. So, if I choose to unite them around Sophia, I'll get the support of the common folk, we'll get the power of the province up, and we'll get a neutral relationship with Sophia, who will now be leading a massacre. I feel like that's probably the thing to do, and if we can conveniently have her encounter an accident and pass things over to her beloved second-in-command, i.e. me, I think that'd be pretty chill. You make your way through the crowd and reach the Chancellery stairs. You belong here, by Sophia's side. Do we? Do we really? We've barely met this woman and she hated us. The door of the Chancellery swings open, and Sophia emerges before the thousands of people gathered in the square. Her silhouette seems to blaze in the light of the setting sun. She raises a clenched fist in the air, demanding silence. The enormous crowd ceases its murmuring at once. Does she pose like Freddie Mercury? We're given no evidence one way or the other, so I'm forced to assume yes. The voice of the leader of the revolt rings with frigid fury, and I have to remember how she sounds. I think she was American? People of Anizot, today is not only the day we took up arms and cast off our shackles. Today is the first day of a new era. We'll begin by taking back our city. We'll eliminate anyone who dares to stand in our way. Then we will declare war against the old regime, against the entire empire. Oh, so many people are going to die. Upon hearing these words, even the most frantic rebels fall silent. A frightened murmur ripples through the crowd. Is Sophia asking them to take on the entire world? You exchange glances with Sophia and step forward. Surely the people do not think the Empire will simply allow Anizot to remain free after hundreds of years of slavery and tyranny. You know when you just say things and you realise, well, I'm committed now. Guess this is where my life is, and I have to keep running, or it will roll over me and I'll die. People of Anizot have already crossed the line. There's no turning back. Anyone who fights for the revolt today will go down in history as a hero. Today's spark will kindle tomorrow's fire, and that fire will spread until the entire Empire burns to the ground. Just checking. So what, the Anizot Massacre, revolt strength at least 6, Sophia leading it. Wow, doesn't even depend on our supporters or anything. She is enough to unite people that much. Wow. Oh, so many people are going to die. Unless we can somehow become leader of the revolt. Our fear of the nobles and divine retribution is a thing of the past. Our future lies in struggle and freedom. People know you. You are Emilio Brante, and you will fight for Sophia until the very end. Because that's all the choice we have right now. People cheer ecstatically. Sophia steps forward again, her eyes gleaming with yellow light, just in case you forgot she is a witch. The crowd falls silent, wrapped with attention, golden light reflected in thousands of eyes. That was a noise that happened to us all. Ooh, felt that one in places. Well said, Brante. No mercy. Nobles, defenders of the old faith, the tyrants of the old regime, they will all be executed by the people's court. Every single enemy of the Anizot revolt will be eliminated. Everyone who's ever had more than 5 real in their pocket. Arm yourselves, find and execute our enemies before the Legion reaches the city. And then when the bell tolls, go to the walls. We will unite the entire city and take our freedom by force. People echo Sophia's cry. Artisans, merchants, peasants from the outskirts of Anizot. They will take up arms and join the ranks of the last straw. The rest form into gangs, ready to unleash their wrath against temples and noble houses alike. So wait, what was the thing that was stopping us from overthrowing Sophia here? I was just moaning about it. I can't remember. Something that we did in the past. I don't know. Some stat was too low. Or we hadn't done a thing. I don't remember things, you know that. Sophia catches her breath after her rousing speech and grips you by the shoulder. I knew you'd be by my side when the time came, Emilio. And we've got all the commoners on our side now, too. But we're short on time. I'll go hunt down our enemies inside the walls. I need to take charge of the people's court. You should go defend the city from the Legion. What, on my own? I mean, I do have 20 valor. You eagerly accept this assignment. A report soon arrives from the scouts at the gate. The Legion's only a few hours away. The final battle is drawing near. Will the outcome of the revolt be decided in combat, or is there a peaceful solution? It all depends on the actions you take in the coming hours. I feel like it may already be decided. I mean, I am the indisputable leader of the common folk. So, you know, there's that at least. Nice. The final hour. We get this because we are a rebel. It's mere moments from midnight. And which was, you know, a bit of a misstep for Iron Maid. The glow of the shining pillar is barely visible behind the crimson clouds coming in from the north. But the darkness hanging above the city is dissipated by countless lights. Bloody light pollution, right? Crowds of people holding torches, stakes burning in the squares, houses in flames. The glow of the fires can also be seen from beyond the city walls. The Legion marches down the road, inexorably approaching the gate of a city in the throes of rebellion. The final battle draws near. All the forces that have chosen to defy the Overseer and the Empire flock to the city gate, where you've set up your base. The soldiers of the last straw assemble commoners into squads and hastily arm them. Other rebels are led by nobles of the mantle and former members of the Legion who've joined the revolt. The priests who've sided with you will spread the word of the twins from the city walls, attempting to convince the Legion soldiers to retreat and allow the people of Anizot to be free of the lots. Preparations are also in full swing at the camp of the defenders of the Old Order, who've established a foothold in the ruins of Shah Malanidas's palace. Will they take a hint from him and set fire to literally everything? Soon their fate will be decided. Will they crush the revolt with the aid of the Legion, or be crushed themselves by the new era? Like the wrestling team? There's almost no time left. Just enough for one last attempt to tip the scales in your favour. Will you spend this final hour appealing to one of your allies for help? Would it be wiser to wait and muster your forces for the final battle? Will you attempt to defeat the Legion and the Overseer's army in combat, or persuade them to retreat without engaging in battle? The fate of Anizot is in your hands. So we could go see Elborn, which would get us some noble support. We can't go see Leonard, because he's, you know, not Patriarch. We can't go see our family, because that would need Robert to have stayed behind and fight with us. Can't gather the soldiers, because Sophia doesn't like us enough. She is not, in fact, willing to transfer all of the last straw's soldiers to my command, which is fair, given that I've literally just joined. Or we can just muster our forces and get some willpower back. Noble support couldn't hurt. Plus, he's a voice I can do easily. There are many highborn families in Anizot that have not yet responded to Otton's appeal to join the noble militia. They preferred to lock themselves up in their mansions and avoid waging war against the lowborn. They could still be won over to your side, but you'll need help from a high-ranking nobleman. While there's still time, you take a few trusted men and head to the prefecture. Elborn greets you on the stairs, surrounded by gendarmes. He accepts your request eagerly. Words. You're right, Brante. There are many nobles who are uncertain as to what fate will befall them if the revolt wins. We need to reassure them if we want to gain their support. We didn't have an extra indirect object on reassure there, and it threw me off for a second. With the help of the gendarme, you send out an appeal to all the noble houses you consider dependable. None of them, frankly. Elborn signs the letters to each family personally. Noble sirs, you know me as a man of honour. I've been a loyal servant to the Overseer, but my ultimate duty is to uphold the law and ensure justice for all the estates. The high-handedness of the noble elite and the neglect of their lot, which is to rule the lowly estate with care and wisdom, has led the people of Anizot to the brink of despair. This is why I have sided with the revolt, and I encourage you to do the same. The man reads all of his letters out as he's writing them. It's a focus thing. May it be known that once our victory has been achieved, none of you will face reprisal. Bold. I, Prefect Elborn, hereby swear that anyone who supports the revolt in word or deed will obtain a rightful place in the newly transformed city of Anizot. Let's see how that goes. The messengers return one by one, bringing back news that noble families have agreed not to stand in the way of the revolt. Only a few of them leave Elborn's appeal unanswered. The support of the nobles will be of great value at the critical hours of the confrontation. Midnight strikes. You can hear the menacing tread of the Legion outside the city walls. Time's come. You order your troops to assemble and prepare to defend the wall. Event has happened. Revolt over 6, Sophia leading the revolt. This means massacre time. Great. /S. The dark void beyond the walls of Anizot is lit by hundreds of lights. Heavy boots tread the soil. Armour clanks, halberds gleam. Drums beat a lively march. Just checking. Okay, we don't have enough clergy support for a peaceful victory anyway. We could still have a less bloodbathy military victory if we were in charge, but hey. So it is. So it is. This is a game about consequences, and boy are we feeling that. It's one of those that kind of, towards the end of these things, it feels like it's railroading you, but that's just because all the consequences of the choices you made are coming along at once. Which is fair. That's generally how life works. I mean, you know, sometimes life feels like it's railroading you. Lit by the glow of the torches, the Magran Legion approaches the city walls. Gaius Tempest himself leads the Legion. It's the Overseer's duty to crush the revolt this very night, and pacify the city before news of the incident spreads throughout the Empire. If the Overseer's hesitation allows the revolt to last even a few days, it could jeopardize not only his position, but even the fate of the entire province that's been entrusted to him. Before ordering an assault, the Overseer sent a message to the city. My subjects, lay down your arms this instant and open the gate. I know that you've been deceived by the insurgency. You have my word as an Archnean ruler, that I will spare anyone who aids the Legion and turns over the leaders of the revolt. Should you disobey this order from your lawful ruler, none of you will escape disgrace, execution, and eternal torment at the foot of the Shining Pillar. But the Overseer's threat only further enraged the rebels. An entire city rebelling against Imperial rule. Nothing like this has happened for generations. But not even experts in ancient history could have imagined what's happening on the streets of Anizot at this moment. The decisions you've made today have led the entire city to rise up against Imperial rule. By nightfall, everyone who's ever suffered from noble tyranny has taken to the streets in support of the last straw. Even those who began the day cowering in terror from the Overseer's wrath have now emerged from their homes and joined your cause. The commoners' fear has been eclipsed by their rage. They march through the city in droves, ready to dispense their own justice. By sunset, even the most loyal defenders of the Empire have come to realise that all hope is lost. The Loyalists have amassed considerable forces at Sharmalandas's palace, but they're too late. Hordes of furious commoners storm their camp, crushing any resistance. Exhausted and demoralised by the futile fight, many defenders of the old order flee mob justice or surrender and accept their death with dignity. The moans of those trampled by the incensed throng can be heard throughout the camp. Abandoned Imperial banners are hurled into the fire. Make way! The crowd grows silent and parts before Sophia. The leader of the revolt is dishevelled, her clothes stained with blood, but a predatory smile lingers on her face. Here, amidst fire and madness, she has finally found her place in the world. That's not a good thing! People who can only find their place amongst chaos and bloodshed tend to just create more of that so that they'll have something to do. Just look at your former masters now. Pathetic, ain't they? They thought they could put us in chains again, but they dropped their swords at the first sight of us. They lied to you for centuries, telling you it was your lot to suffer and break your back for them. But look who's suffering now. I give you my word, tonight we're gonna execute anyone who isn't on our side, every single one of them, and then we'll feast among the ruins of the old world. The crowd roars, shaking their weapons in the air. Now the only thing standing between us and freedom is the Legion, but we'll take down the Overseer's troops just like we took down the Emperor's lackeys here in Anizot. Just because we feel like we're possibly quickly running up on the end here, I'm just gonna audio go for a second while I put some time in before the ad break. There may be a more elegant way of doing this, but there it is. But first we need to get rid of the rest of the enemies and traitors in this camp. Sophia takes a glance around the site of the recent massacre. Her merciless gaze stops at you. Welp! Brante! The time has come. This moment will determine your place in history. We just accept our true death? I'm good. We can defy her and also die. It's just better for the province. We can take charge. No mercy for the enemies of the revolt. You'll be responsible for dispensing vigilante justice and defending the walls from the Legion. So we can just commit at this point. And Gaia said die. We can't stop the slaughter because we don't have the willpower. And we would die. Or we flee. We get out of Anizot as it burns because we're schemy. Ah, yeah. So does this actually do anything else? Because the Anizot massacre will still happen. Power +2, Church +1, Order -2, Wealth -2. No, that's literally the same. Right, so that's going to happen whatever we do. So, do we die on principle? I knew I should have said... If we'd mustered our forces instead of getting the nobles on our side, we could have done this. I mean, we'd still die, and the revolt would fail. That would be bad. Why would we want to do that? So, our choices are... Get out of the city as it burns, and probably burn our bridges with the common folk and just be nobles in exile forever. We can die on principle. Or we can do just so much murder. Just so much murder. And not die and stay in Anizot and presumably now be at least partly in charge and have just years and years of trauma. I feel like at this point we're in an in for a penny situation, which is probably bad. So many of these choices have made me feel bad, but that's clearly the idea. Let's go. You meet Sophia's gaze. You share her ruthless determination. Together you will dispose of anyone who dares to stand in your way. The path you've chosen will lead to plenty of blood and suffering, but you're both ready. Your cause leaves no room for hesitation. Yeah, we have started this avalanche, and now we just gotta try and keep surfing. You handle the executions, Emilio. But hurry, the Legion's about to attack. At least you don't have to worry about getting attacked from the rear. Go on, get your verdicts. I'll be waiting for you up on the walls. Leaving a small squad with you, Sophia rushes off to defend the gate. You eagerly get to work. Your soldiers dash around the wrecked camp and drag all the survivors to one spot. High-ranking nobles, inquisitors, commoners from the enemy militia. They're all thrown to the ground at your feet. You're surrounded by a horde of enraged commoners, desperate to strangle their enemies with their bare hands. You order them to restrain themselves. This is not how it is done. If they want their enemies to come back from the hereafter and take revenge, you need the verdict of the people's court. At your order, the captives are lined up and forced to their knees. The crowd cheers in bloodthirsty anticipation, eager for the next execution. The gunmen raise their muskets. You address the people of Anizot, loudly announcing that these are enemies of their freedom, who've dared to take up arms against the great cause of the revolt. What is their verdict? True death! Gunmen take aim and fire, again and again until the last of the captives falls, their bodies pierced by bullets. They twitch helplessly, then lie still. Meanwhile, you can hear the din of battle from the walls. Siege ladders fly up against the ramparts. The ground shakes with the heavy tread of the Legion's iron boots. You must hurry. You assemble a squad and head toward the gate. It's slow going. Fires have blanketed Anizot in acrid smoke. The noble districts are in flames, as is the Chancellery. The temples of the old faith are ablaze, and priests who refuse to join the rebels are burned alive within. It's gone poorly. Bodies dressed in luxurious clothing float face down in the fountains. The bodies of those executed by firing squad lay in heaps by the walls. The cobblestones are littered with the corpses of those hurled from the windows of their own homes. Robbers loot the crypts of noble families, tossing ancient bones into the dirt. But right now, the streets are empty. Everyone capable of holding a weapon is rushing to defend the gate. By the time you arrive, the battle has already reached its peak. Deafening gunshots ring out from above. Brante, come here! We fought off the first attack! So that means what? Next song is Night of Anguish? You clamber up onto the wall, giving orders as you go as if placing toy soldiers. You almost bump into Sophia. She's excited, hair black from gunpowder smoke. She squeezes your shoulder. We repelled the first attack, Emilio. That blue-faced bastard sent us a herald, said we should lay down our arms and surrender. I shot him right in his head. I have a button for that.
That is a war crime.
Yeah, it is. Some strong brass work going on in this soundtrack right now, though. I approve. Meanwhile, the Overseer orders another assault. Take the wall! Come on, men, they're just commoners, they don't stand a chance against you! This time, Gaius Tempest sends 2 battalions of heavy infantry at the wall to the left of the gate. They're followed by archers. Not even gunshots can stop this attack. The ladders fly up, a hail of arrows pelt your positions. Hold the line! I'll hit the archers, you hold the wall. Don't let them through! The defenders on the walls attempt to throw the ladders back, hurling stones at their assailants and pouring boiling oil on them. But the onslaught is too strong. One by one, the Legion soldiers begin to leap from their ladders and onto the city walls. If you falter now, all is lost. You gather your best men and send them against the Legion soldiers. The walls erupt into bloody mayhem. All over the walls, the bodies of the fallen fade into brilliant flashes of light. You and your soldiers desperately hack, shoot, and hurl enemies from the walls. The siege ladders fall to the ground below. The attack's been repelled! Twice more, Gaius Tempest orders his troops to attack the wall. Twice more, the walls are stained with blood. Twice more, your soldiers withstand the onslaught. Dawn is drawing near. Even from your position on the walls, you see the Legion soldiers slowly, hesitantly regrouping for their next attack. Desperate, the Overseer himself steps forward to address his demoralized troops in his fancy armor. Are you really afraid of some commoners who can barely hold a weapon? Don't fear them, you fools! Fear the wrath of your Emperor! Fear the wrath of the Tempests! It is your sacred duty to re-establish Imperial rule in Azot. The city will fall and its pathetic rebellion will be crushed. Go forth. I will lead the charge myself. The Overseer raises his ancient sword high above his head. The Legion soldiers shudder. No member of the royal family has taken up arms in centuries. True here. The first rays of the rising sun appear on the horizon, breaking through the grey storm clouds. Led by its royal commander, the Legion begins its decisive attack. Ragged, covered in blood, barely able to stand, you get the surviving soldiers back on their feet and order them to defend the city one last time. Not even the twins themselves could get through this gate. But the time for speeches has long passed. Now there's only smoke, blood, clanking of swords. Now you can just fight and win. You see the Imperial banner flutter before you. The Legion soldiers are scaling the wall, the Overseer himself first among them. You and your men rush toward the banner. You will capture Gaius Tempest. Sensing that victory is close at hand, your warriors use their last ounce of strength to break through to the enemy commander. The Legionnaires try to form a defensive ring around the Overseer, but the enraged rebels dash them aside like toy soldiers. Gaius Tempest is surrounded. Wielding his sword masterfully, he slays one of your soldiers after another. Sophia suddenly emerges from behind him, her furious visage aglow with sorcerous sparks. Freeze! Against his will, the Archnean nobleman stumbles and halts. It's now or never. You charge at your enemy and knock the blade from his hands. Still bound by Sophia's spell, Gaius Tempest stares at you in astonishment. A dozen soldiers pin him against the wall. Sophia stops beside you, casting a mocking glance at the defeated commander. Who's the master now, huh? I mean, I thought the idea was nobody, but hey, what do I know? The leader of the revolt picks up a fallen Imperial banner and tosses it off the edge of the wall. Down below, the soldiers of the Legion begin to flee. You've won. The surviving defenders on the walls lean against the merlins, exhausted or simply collapse. Down by the gate you hear triumphant shouts. Like a wave they roll further over the streets and squares over the entire city. Victory! Anisot has won its freedom. The Overseer glares at you icily. There is genuine bitterness in his voice. Madmen! You've doomed your city! It will be destroyed. I was not your enemy until you forced me to send my army against you. One step at a time, I would have changed this province. I would have made your lives better. Incremental change. Who doesn't love that? Love having things slightly improved a century in the future. But now the entire force of the Empire is about to come crashing down upon you. Punishment for your insolence will be terrible indeed. What was it all for? What do you hope to achieve? Freedom from butchers like you. Butchers like men? What? No. This is a good typo, but no, I think that is a typo. Butchers like me? What exactly do you think you are? You withstood my attack today, now what? Do you want the entire world at war? What will become of the Empire after all your revolt? You look back at your city, crimson in the glow of the flames and the rays of the rising sun. You turn back to your former ruler. I want to burn it all down. Those who used to be in power will burn. The old regime will burn. The endless injustice the Empire is built on, it will all burn. Sophia grabs the captive commander by the neck and forces him to face the city. Massive crowds gather by the gate. Everyone's watching, waiting to see what will become of the Overseer. See how many of us there are. Your day is done. Say bye-bye to your power, Blueface. Now, is this racist or is this reclamation? I don't know. Audio cut. There we go. Sophia raises a fist in the air and proclaims a victory before the entire city. People of Anizot, we've won! Nothing in the Empire can stop us now. Why would you say that? But remember, this was just the beginning. Next, we're going to put the whole Empire on trial. And the first person we're going to judge is Gaius Tempest, your former overseer and the Emperor's brother. You know all about his crimes against you. What is your verdict, people of Anizot? The fateful words roll through the square like thunder. True death! This cannot be! The law is divine! Only the twins can grant the right to judge! Sophia hands you a dagger. Emilio Brante will carry out the sentence. Raising the blade aloft, you step towards Gaius Tempest as he kneels before you. Crowd roars. Strength beyond imagining surges through your arm. With one swift motion, you slit the former overseer's throat. Royal blood runs down your fingers. The man who just yesterday was one of the most powerful Arnians in the Empire collapses at your feet. You raise the bloody dagger high in the air. The Empire has been sentenced to death. Time stands still. You look back at the years gone by, all the difficult decisions you had to make, all the actions that helped you take your place in history. You put an end to the old era with your own hand. To be honest, like, we made so many choices that where it was like, what are your ideals like? And we always went with burn it all, destroy any semblance of external law, and kill the gods. So I don't suppose I can really complain about us coming to exactly that outcome. Your destiny has been fulfilled. He's dead. The Overseer is dead. Go, people. There are plenty of enemies left in this city. It's high time they learn the true meaning of suffering. Find them, capture them, and execute them. Brante will lead you. The bloody procession begins to scour Anizot for enemies of the revolt. Once the city's purged, it will continue its march from province to province. In time, it will reach the capital and then the throne of the Emperor himself. And you're in command of it. Ah, the Reign of Terror. But hey, the new faith's in power, even though so many of them died. I mean, lots of other people are dying. It's not great for the wealth of the province, but you know. Event has happened. Relentless massacre.
Fire and blood engulfed the streets of Anizote
Anizote?
before spreading
No!
the rest of the empire.
That's all we get. One line from Auto-Tune Bassman. Sure, okay. New day dawns, because we're not dead and we're still in the city. We did not, in fact, have to go fast. It's morning. Oh, that's some very anime aftermath music. You stumble along a now empty back street, utterly exhausted after the most trying night of your life. An elderly stranger in a threadbare cloak shambles down the road in the opposite direction. The old man looks around cautiously at every step, seemingly struggling to remember where he's going. As you approach him, he suddenly stops, speaks to you. Good morning to you. You slow down for the old man and wearily return his greeting. May I ask you for a favour, my friend? Barely have any energy to waste today, but there's something about this old stranger's voice that compels you to listen. Is it the amount of fry? A favour? What kind of favour? Well, my brother and I had a disagreement, you see, and I want to know who was right. My brother says this world is already perfect as it is. The twins made it like this after all. The old stranger pauses, casting a glance over the street. The charred carcasses of buildings and homes. The overturned carriages, the dried bloodstains on the paving stones. And I told my brother that, no matter what their initial design may have been, the world as it is now needs to change. So then my brother asked me what exactly needs changing, but I had no answer for him. So here I am, wandering around, tormented by this question. Would you help us settle our dispute, my good man? Who's in the right here, me or my brother? If you were in the twins' place, what would you do? What about this world needs changing? So we cannot grant the world forgiveness because Nathan isn't a prophet. Okay. Leave, the twins should leave and just not get involved. They should take better care and, like, get involved directly, which free everyone from the lot. Lots. Just destroy it. The twins' creation is nothing more than a monstrous cage, a dark dungeon that dooms mortals to a life of suffering. If you made this world, you would destroy it with your hands. I mean, this old man and his brother are the twins. Let's be real here. I can see this coming. Do we go full Gnostic? Were we listening that closely to Latari? Or we could just be enigmatic back to them. I'm torn between... there is part of me that wants to just go full nihilist run. Because at this point we are dealing with so much mental illness. And just go for the whole... maybe the next world will be better. I'm intrigued by Enigmatic, I'm intrigued by Leave the World Alone. But I feel it really fits the last few years of our lives. No, I can't bring myself... I'm very existentialist, but I can't bring myself to embrace nihilism. I just dislike it. They should just... The gods should just stop. Because I don't want to destroy the world, I want to destroy the gods. Ah, this is a weirdly hard choice. Free mortals from the lots, but then it's very much the twins are still at the head of everything. I'm going to take an ad break. I don't know how long it will be after the ad break, but I just kind of want to sit in this decision for a bit, you know? So, take care of yourselves out there and come back in about 3 minutes to find out what the hell I click. Alright. Alright everyone, I'm back. So I've been doing some thinking, and that fourth option, the destruction, well, fifth option if you include the one we can't click, I'm increasingly not convinced that is nihilistic. It's not saying that we want there to be nothing, but just that if we had the power of the gods, it would be more within our power to create a world that made sense than this one, where so much of the oppression and stratification is baked into just the functioning of the world. I don't know if this place can be saved, frankly, and like looking at it from kind of Gnostic perspectives, where like a cruel demiurge has trapped evil in here with us, or from a Buddhist perspective, where this world is dependent upon suffering, but so moving beyond it is the important part. And Octavia and Latterie have shown us that transcendence from this world is possible. So if I was in the twins' place, honestly, I would take the people that weren't awful, which at this point not many of them, and just pull a whole, you know, Maya thing, end this world, start a new one, and do it better next time. In the words of Placebo, try better next time. I'm having a lot of emotions here. Your face stretches in a predatory grin. Oh god, Emilio is going to take it completely differently from how I was just thinking about it. What? Great, great, great. Oh, we're so damaged. We're so damaged. If it were up to you, you'd not change anything. Everything that had to happen has already happened. This world is hideous, and thus it will be destroyed. There's nothing here but suffering. Why prolong the agony? If the twins want to make something good, why? They ought to dismantle their own creation and start over again from scratch. Okay, we've just gone full Shalene is on this. I'm feeling some kind of way, but I guess this was the story of Emilio Brante, a broken man who, after a while, wanted to break everything else. Great. Dazed by your words, the old man recoils in pain and terror. Haven't you seen a single good thing in your life, in all of creation? You respond by pointing at the ash-choked sky looming ominously above the city. If there was ever anything good in this world, it's long gone by now. Yeah, okay, so we are just committing to nihilism at this point. Great. Not a huge fan, but hey, it is what it is, we make our decisions. Right now the past is strangling this world with its shackles and multiplying its suffering. It's time to free the world from its past, time to tear it all down. Okay, so we are going for tearing down the system rather than actively attempting to cause the apocalypse, so that's nice. Bitter tears stream down the old stranger's cheeks. I can feel the pain and the truth in your words. Thank you, Emilio, for settling our disagreement. Goodbye. How did he know my name? It's almost like they were the twins. Ah. The old man shuffles away, his back bent. Wait, how did he know your name? See? You spin around, but the street's empty. Outcome of the revolt. It only took a few days for the entire Empire to learn of the revolt and the events that had transpired in Anizot, which I'm still pronouncing Anizot despite base auto-tune man once saying Anizote, because that sounds way sillier. The unthinkable victory over the common folk over the war engine that was the Imperial Legion, the ruthless and fearsome leaders of the rebellion, the terrifying slaughter of the nobles, priests, and anyone else who stood in the insurgents' way. By the end of the second day, the revolt had reduced the city of Anizot to a charred, smouldering ruin. Thick, acrid smoke from burning buildings and gunpowder blanketed the city. Bodies swung from ropes on every street. The results of the justice of the People's Court, sprawled, abandoned, lead-riddled corpses, to be found in every square. The events of those days entered the annals of history as the Great Anizot Massacre. Because if you're going to say Anizote, why not say Massacre? But the rebels were not content. Having purged all their enemies from Anizot, they immediately began to march across the province. Every town and village in their way was freed from the noble rule. As the landowners fled in terror, the commoners abandoned their homes and armed themselves to fight beneath the banner of the last straw. The rebel army grew larger and stronger by the day. So began their bloody campaign of destruction. Wherever the rebels march, the old ways of the Empire collapse. They have no mercy, leaving nothing behind but smouldering ruins and the ashes of the dead. Age-old traditions burn as their ravenous flames consume town after town, city after city. Wait, this is the ending of Elden Ring that everyone hated. The old noble dynasties are amassing their own armies beneath the banner of the Tempests to fight off this chaos. I mean, it's not quite that bad still. But the rebel hordes are already approaching the capital. There's no stopping them. Sophia's dream of waging war against the old world has begun. Regardless of the outcome, the Empire will never be the same again. Power. The bloodthirsty march of the rebellion obliterated any semblance of the rule of law in Magra. The last straw and its followers massacred all the old rulers, leaving chaos and anarchy in their wake. It was only inevitable that the province would fall into the hands of outlaws and marauders, because, you know, we didn't have an actual system for progress, because, you know, I wasn't in charge of the revolt, just saying. The old ways are gone, but can the people of Magra build something new in their place? The Church. The new faith endured the persecution of the Inquisition, and survived Patriarch Cassius to become the dominant church in Magra. Since then, most Magran priests preach that everyone is free to find their own path to the twins. See, we didn't need to say that to the mysterious old man anyway, because it's already happened. The old faith has lost the influence it once had. It survives only thanks to the most uncompromising priests, the dynasties of old, and fearful commoners in the most remote Magran villages. The wealth of Magra. The crises of the past few years have annihilated the province's former prosperity. Which, frankly, if you're going to do the revolt, I don't know how you can avoid this, because it's going to happen. Trade. The fertile fields have been scorched, the mines have been abandoned, the factories stand idle with no one to work in them. The looming threat of hunger and poverty drives the people to back-breaking labour and the tried and true ways of their ancestors. Commoners flee the cities in droves and flock to villages and towns, hoping to squeeze some paltry nourishment from the inhospitable Magran soil. Provinces on the verge of starvation and turmoil. Order. Lawless anarchy replaced the old order, plunging Magra into chaos. People of the province no longer know whose orders and which laws they are to follow, and the authorities that remain have no power to maintain order. The most reckless commoners become outlaws and thieves, the nobles feud amongst themselves. Bloodshed, looting, and wanton cruelty become commonplace in Nagra, and this lawlessness soon spreads to the rest of the Empire. See, I don't love that that seems to be on a linear scale from the law of the Empire to chaos and everybody having a terrible time. Just saying. There's some nuances that I feel a kind of actual transformative move towards breaking the old order would entail. But hey, no game's going to have a perfect political system. In fact, probably none of them are, because life doesn't have a perfect political system. Divine omens. The revolt in Anizot was followed by more omens in the years to come. Terrible omens that sowed fear throughout the Empire. I mean, we did kind of tell God to destroy the world. Pitch black ash rained from the sky day and night. Plants and trees withered and died. The rivers ran dry. The year's harvest rotted in the fields. The earth beneath the temples split open. Plagues and natural disasters swept through every province. Look, really, the moral here is this is what happens when you take my advice. I give bad advice because sometimes I want to push buttons and see what happens, especially if it's a video game. To every soul in the Empire, from the poorest beggar to the mightiest Artnian lord, the meaning of the omens is clear. The gods have abandoned their creation. The end of days is nigh. So what you're saying is I'm really speedrunning this whole killing literally everyone thing. Is this healthy? No. How do we cope with our problems? Is it tell God to kill everyone in the world? No! What became of Dorius Otten? The Artnian commander fought with all his might against the rebellious rabble he so despised. Yet even a skilled swordsman such as he was doomed when confronted with a citywide uprising. The haughty Archnian became Sophia's prisoner, and so his life was forfeit. Hey! He spent his final moments in inconceivable agony. Sophia did not permit him to die until his spirit and body were completely and utterly broken. Okay, this is excessive. Long after the once invincible Dorius Otten was no more, the corpse of the mighty Archnian remained chained to the Anizot Gate. What became of Augustin Elborn? When Prefect Augustin Elborn saw firsthand the atrocities being committed on the streets of Anizot, he did what he could to urge the people to stop Sophia and her henchmen by any means necessary. He was too late. In the end, Elborn shared the same fate as the Last Straw's other enemies. The former judge faced death with dignity, showing no fear before the rebels' muskets. His face expressed only deep, bitter sorrow. Sir Elborn is remembered as one of the ringleaders of the Anizot massacre, and the bloodthirsty rebellion that poisoned the entire empire. I do like a step aside to see how history thinks of this, which is rarely accurate. What became of Father Leonard? Leonard railed furiously against the murderous executions perpetrated by Sophia. In an effort to end the massacre, he sought to reconcile the opposing factions. Leonard was labelled an enemy of the revolt. For crimes against a great cause, the People's Court sentenced him to death along with his other perceived foes. He spent his final moments in prayer, tormented by the realization that he had unwillingly helped to precipitate this terrible slaughter. Leonard is remembered by the new believers as the greatest preacher of his day. But among old believers, he left an undying legacy as a nemesis of the Church, who violated the twins' divine design. Tarmas. Well, I mean, we know what happened with Tarmas. Tarmas Garo always tried to make his own way in the world, but his independence became his undoing when he fell afoul of Dorius Otten, the military commander of Nagra. The noble lot did nothing to protect Tarmas from the whims of the mighty Arachnian. As the Empire was consumed by unrest, no one noticed or remembered the final death of a Legion officer by the name of Tarmas Garo. We remembered him. Pour one out. Octavia, the being that was once Octavia Melanidas, departed from this world forever, without a trace. It was as though neither the beautiful young Archnian lady nor the enigmatic being she became ever existed. All the knowledge of the Latterie was lost forever, along with the legacy of Octavia Melanidas, just because I tried to legalize it for the love of God. Still a little bit... Some of the decisions and consequences in this are a little bit salty. A little bit. But hey. Some of the decisions and consequences in my real life, a little bit salty, so here we are. What else is new? Who's next? Sophia. Ever since she was young, Sophia had been the living embodiment of hatred. Written. Okay, that's making a bold statement about a little girl. The spawn of every hideous injustice committed in the Empire. She prevailed in the struggle for Anizot, and that victory finally revealed her true power. Now, Sophia casts her shadow over every corner of the Empire, her eyes blazing with yellow flame, eager to incinerate every army and province in her path. Oh my god, it is the Frenzied Flame! No one can stop Sophia and defeat her bloodthirsty hordes. After the victory in Anizot, the inveterate rebel began a brutal war against the Old Order. A war that had seemed utterly unthinkable just a few years ago. A war of annihilation. Sophia is remembered as the woman who destroyed the Blessed Archaean Empire and burned the old world to the ground. Alexa, play End Studies by Seeming. Because I can kind of get behind that when you frame it that way. There's a lot of... Yeah. There's, like I say, shades and nuances. Also, why am I not remembered as the woman who destroyed the Blessed Archaean Empire? Honestly, been sat here the whole time. The Brante family. Thanks to your efforts, the Brante family escaped Anizot with their lives just before the rebellion reached its apex. But there'd be no return to the rebellious city. The family home was burnt to the ground by a rioting mob, and their old life was lost along with it. The Brantes never picked a side in the battle for Anizot, and in the end they were rejected by both factions. Their son was one of the ringleaders, come on guys, that's on them. Now the family must roam the Empire looking for a new place to take shelter. Left without a home, influence or friends, the Brantes have fallen on hard times. They're ready to face the future bravely, as long as they have each other. Okay, yeah, we did that. Robert, your father lost his status, his career, and his home. The rebellion destroyed Robert Brante's life and gave him nothing in return. When the world changed, your father found himself unable to adapt and find a new place in it. He had no choice but to abandon his ambitions and live in obscurity. His family was all he had left, so he dedicated himself to caring for its well-being. Lydia. Lydia Brante's health had become very delicate over the years. The new challenges the family had to face amid the growing unrest were a staggering blow from which she never recovered. Your father did everything he could to preserve Lydia's life, but his efforts were in vain. She soon passed away, quietly and meekly in her bed. In her last moments, Lydia prayed to the twins. She had led a righteous life, and she departed for the twins' final judgment without fear, only to find that her son had told the twins to kill everyone. But you know, not in the worst way. She rationalised. Stefan never accepted the new order. Frustrated by your decision and the success of the revolt, he was not ready to come to terms with a free Anizot that had stripped him of his noble privileges. Yet, he never became your enemy, despite the growing distance between you. He did, however, choose to leave his home city, never to return. Stefan moved to the capital and worked hard to pursue a military career and find a place in the Emperor's court. For many long years, your elder brother lived alone, far from the rest of you. Yet he still carried the Brante name, and never stopped writing letters back home. Stefan was too plain-spoken to survive the intrigue and never-ending power struggles of the capital. His bold and ambitious nature swiftly earned him a plethora of enemies at court. Before long, he was falsely accused of plotting against the crown. However, Stefan found the strength to reach out to your father for help. A man equally skilled at courtroom arguments and backroom diplomacy, Robert intervened just in time to save his son from execution. Stefan was quick to take advantage of his enemies' unravelled plots, When the false accusations crumbled, he used them as stepping stones for his own career. In a matter of years, your elder brother became the supreme commander of the Imperial Legion. He never saw the faces of his loved ones again, but his family remained in his heart for the rest of his life, which probably wouldn't be that long, given that he's running the Imperial Legion and the Rebellion would have opinions on that. Gloria? Yeah. It doesn't say Gloria Brante. Sad fact. Gloria witnessed the massacres and the horrors of the revolt firsthand. Disgusted and disillusioned, your sister abandoned her former cause. She took every poem in which she urged the people to rebel, threw them into the fire. In the end, her fear of senseless bloodshed was stronger than any grievance against injustice, stronger than any desire to change the world for the better. Gloria always regretted having involuntarily aided a monster like Sophia. She grew inseparable from your father, and worked hard to help them survive the hardships of their new life. It could be worse. Nathan? Nathan Brante. Your younger brother survived the revolt. When it passed, he found the strength to start his life anew. You've given him a glimmer of hope that he nurtured within his soul, and it helped him to accept the common lot as his path to the peak of the pillar. I'm not sure I took that the right way, but okay. Oh, it was willpower that we didn't have to stop Sophia, but it was a bad idea anyway. He dedicated the rest of his life to prayer, toil, and humility. The suffering he had endured in his spiritual quest became the foundation of his faith. When the end came, Nathan departed to the twins' final judgment without fear, and once again found that I had told them that they should just destroy everything. I'd say sorry if I was. Gregor! Not even in the afterlife did Gregor Brante see the realization of his great dream. His descendants failed to have the Brante name ennobled by the sword. Get wrecked. The Brante bloodline was denied its chance to become one of the Empire's most eminent dynasties. The blood tide ushered in by Gregor Brante would never have another chance at immortality. And I say again, get wrecked. And us? Side by side with Sophia, you began the march against the old ways, and the rebellious hordes followed you. No one remembered your old name any longer. Your new name instilled terror in every corner of the Empire. Butcher of Anizot. Yeah, we maybe committed too hard, just gonna say. The cruelty with which you dispatched your enemies became the stuff of legend. It's possible to want to destroy everything, not in a cruel way, but hey, nuance. Along the way, you faced many powerful foes, and crushed them all. Free from fear of death, unafraid of the twins' judgment. Again and again you emerged from the flames to bring the common folk the freedom they so coveted. And they fought for you until they bled their last. You, the Butcher of Anizot, became a flame that incinerated the monstrous, decrepit husk of an empire until nothing remained. But it was not your fate to see whether or not a new world would rise from the ashes of the old. I mean, yeah, that's generally how it works. We were built in the old regime, so we're going to have to go down with them. So ends the life and suffering of Emilio Brante. Oh, and we died. From birth till death, live your entire life without ever looking back. What was that achievement? Can you see this overlay? You can see this overlay. I should close that. And it doesn't even tell us anymore. Okay. Don't know why you can see those overlays. I thought I'd turn that off. Apologies. Anyway, when we do finally die, the hour of your death has come. Your soul has left your body, never to return. You're taken to the peak of the shining pillar. Every moment separates you more and more from the mortal realm. The link that once bound you to it is gone forever. You look up to see two divine visages watching you intently. The elder twin gazes upon you, full of sorrow and compassion. The younger examines you dispassionately, seeing your every act and thought. You've ascended from the mortal realm. From here you are but one step away from partaking in eternal bliss atop the peak of the shining pillar. First you must be judged by them, Just as every other soul born in this world has been judged since time immemorial, only their judgment can decide whether you deserve to remain atop the peak or be hurled down to the foot. I mean, we've knowingly defied the gods at literally every turn, and the first act we took was shouting heresy, so it's not looking good for our hero. If he even is a hero at this point in any way. You stand before the twins. Your very essence is laid bare before them, all the secrets of your inner self revealed in full. Your soul is like an open book to them, one that preserves the story of your entire life. You lie prostrate before the gods. The time's come to take responsibility for your mortal life. And the elder twin asks, "Are you thankful to the gods for the life you lived?" Don't know why he's still doing that voice. He probably doesn't need to. So, soul is filled with love for those who created you and gave you the gift of life. Seems unlikely. Glad it's over. Life was agony. You refuse to submit to them. You feel no gratitude to your creators. Your mortal life was yours. Feels a vibe. You despise them. You hate the world and your entire life. No, because that seems to be where the game wants it to go, with the whole Butcher of Anazot thing, and just that we are just filled with impotent Kratos in God of War 3-like rage. We regret how we squandered our gift of life. Or, calmly. Reload player? I think we're back. Why does it say offline? No. I'm still streaming. I'm very much still streaming. Right, if this is being recorded at all, hi. I'm gonna give it 30 seconds to see if it suddenly decides to recognize that I'm streaming. Because I am. This sure was a way to finish things. I swear, I always seem to have this when I'm finishing games. Oh, does mobile dashboard think that we exist? Mobile dashboard says I'm live. That's exciting. What if I just refresh the Stream Manager page? And then I add 5 minutes before the... Hey, we are good. We're good. We're back. Right. Okay, yes, we're back. I may or may not cut that out in the VOD. Enjoy, question mark? We shall see. This is... I'm annoyed. Anyway. All you missed, I think, was me going on a whole thing about how bad parents do not deserve the respect of their children. So, we are not required to give them gratitude. They hear your answer. Compassion and remorse fill the immeasurably deep eyes of the elder twin. He turns to face his divine brother, who returns his gaze with an expression of stern remorse. The elder twin asks once more, "What was your life to you?" Struggle. Suffering. Toil. Enlightenment. Service. Creation. Or empathy. I mean, struggle, really, because we'd spent the whole time fighting and tearing down the system, which is... That is the struggle that continues. Is it originally Miriam Makeba? That song, Elush Continua? I don't know. I think the slogan's older than the song anyway. The elder twin bows his head wearily, considering your response, but the stern visage of the younger already looms above you. Human by the name of Brante, what did you live for? Principles, freedom, power, other people, faith, happiness, or a cause. Interesting that you have a cause and principles here. But honestly, We burnt everything down for freedom. The younger's gaze lingers on your bare, defenseless soul. The divine figure continues its stern interrogation. What? Why is it that when we die we get subjected to a BuzzFeed personality quiz? What did you leave behind? Change? Order? Not so much. Doctrine? Maybe. Home? I mean, technically. Legacy? Yeah. Achievement? Arguably. Nothing. No, we've made substantive change, let's say. The younger twin now moves towards you with clear intent, poised to render his judgment. But the elder twin restrains his brother with a gesture. A divine voice fills you once again. Did your life make the world we made better and more perfect? It became better. It cannot be changed. Only the twins have this power. I don't like that. It did not become better. It became worse, or... I don't think there's a good answer to that. Make the world better and more perfect. For one thing, perfect doesn't come in degrees. It shouldn't be a problem looking at our viewing figures, but non-subs will have ads now. Apologies if you are watching this live, and my ticker just isn't updating for some reason. Check the VOD, I guess. Sorry. Yeah, I don't think it's possible to know. That is literally on a scale too big for us to... Yeah. The younger twin is silent, his eyes two swords piercing his soul. The elder twin speaks to you again, but you already know the question. The very same question that caused you so much suffering shortly before your true and final death. Please, there was so much suffering all the way down. What determined your destiny? Me? The world? A higher power? Nobody? Destiny does not exist. Human life is an exercise in chance. It's not governed by any laws. Now, see, here we have the existentialist nihilist thing. The soul of a man named Brante lies prostrate at your feet. Are we the twins now? You've witnessed his entire life, known his every act, seen his every thought and desire. No other soul could ever walk the same path. So many difficult choices, and they're not wrong. So many emotions, so much pain. Another soul awaits your judgment. You know no mercy, nor does your brother. Every mortal must walk the path chosen from him to the very end. Those who abide by the precepts set forth by you and your brother shall return to you and become a part of you. Those who reject you shall know the eternal suffering of oblivion. Now, eternal suffering and oblivion, different things. I feel a distinction needs to be made here. Where does the man named Emilio Brante belong? I mean, my answer to that is he belongs at the peak of the pillar, because so does everybody. So if you're going to give me the chance to actually make an egalitarian god who literally could make eternal bliss for everyone, and elects not to, like, if you're going to give me the chance to play as them, I will absolutely just give everybody a pass, because frankly, life is hard enough. You gingerly grasp the fragile soul, lift it up and turn to face your elder brother. You lift your sword. Your brother stands with arms akimbo, ready for the blow. The blade slices through his chest, blinding light gushes from the gash. You bring the minuscule soul to your brother's chest, and it dissolves in streams of shimmering luminescence. A tiny fragment of your shared creation has rejoined the whole. This doesn't sound like eternal bliss. The man named Brante is no more. There is only the eternal fount in which he now abides. Well, this game's a lot, y'all. Woof. I mean, I always get this at the end of life sims, and indeed most kind of media that's all about just kind of tracking somebody birth to death. But it hits harder when you're the one doing it. Oof. That's hit me pretty hard, not gonna lie. I always forget this as well, and then I come back and do it again. End life, there's a button. And here's the credits, so I guess I should talk over them while we let these run. Oh, yeah, I'm having a moment, y'all. Yeah, but thank you for being here with me through it. I mean, this is quite possibly the kind of game that, quite probably the kind of game that I would have given up on were there not other people watching me, so yeah. Thank you. Mushroomer, I've heard of him. This is very... I mean, I'm going to say Russian. It could well not be Russian. And some of these names look more Ukrainian. Anyway. Yeah, thank you all for being here. Seriously. I'll do the wrap-up, because why not? If you've been here, if you've been watching, you know where to find me. But just in case, this is twitch.tv/Serasent, that's SERASENT, the House of Hubris, streaming every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday at 2 PM British time. That's 9 AM Eastern, 6 Pacific. Other time zones are available, but you'll have to do the maths. Or hey, if you don't want to do the maths, why not give us a follow and get notified whenever I'm live. If you do miss anything, VODs are on the Twitch for 8 weeks after... Oh, I think we're back. Yay, we're back. Okay, I will just quickly finish the wrap-up, because there were a couple of things I wanted to say. Once again, thank you to everyone. Yeah, YouTube, link is down there, or it's youtube.com/@houseofhubris. If you want to find me elsewhere on the internet, I am still, until they inevitably ban me for calling somebody who is cis, on Twitter. Again, link is down there, or it's Twitter@houseofhubris. Nothing else particularly exciting to announce at the moment. We will be going on some more hiatuses. I mean, not the ones because of our network problems. Those are on a separate schedule. This Saturday, that's the 24th, no stream, because I will be off doing OQL individual quiz. I might make up a stream on Sunday. I might not, we shall see. Tuesday and Thursday next week, fine. But then the first 2 weeks of July, no streams at all, because I have to go and be on holiday and can't really support the bitrate for a stream from a caravan. But hey, follow me on the Twitter for anything else, any updates, any extra streams, any ranting about the current political situation, because I may do that at any point. And memes and selfies and all the things one uses a totally good and functional social media platform for. Okay, well, before my internet goes down again, I should probably sign off. So, yeah. Love you all. Thanks for being with me through the life and suffering of Amelia Brante. We will be back on Tuesday, or possibly Sunday, with something else that might be less depressing. Alright, love you all. Bye-bye.